I'm Helen, in my early 30s and currently a full-time housewife. I recently got married, but my ex-boyfriend was a terrible person. My childhood friend, Diane, introduced me to him. My ex-boyfriend was Alex. Alex worked at the same company as Diane, and I met him at a drinking party with her. He was a year younger than us, but he was really good at winning people over. He was very sociable, and I found that attractive at the time. Eventually, we started going out, just the two of us, and it turned into a relationship. After dating for a few years, we both reached an age where we started thinking about marriage. That's when Alex proposed to me. At that time, I was living alone, and so was Alex. I stayed over at Alex's place that night.
Good morning. I feel like having some donuts for breakfast. Helen, don't you have any?
Alex, who had woken up before me, suddenly asked me this. Donuts? I don't have anything like that.
Really? Aren't you holding some in your left hand?
That? My left hand?
I felt something odd about my left hand.
When I looked, there was a ring on my ring finger.
I will make you happy. Please marry me.
At that moment, I was on top of the world. But looking back now, he was the kind of person who would do this with anyone. So, I received an engagement ring, and it was decided that I would marry Alex.
Helen, I want you to quit your job. Anyway, once we start living together, you won't be able to commute to your job, right?
Alex's house and my workplace were far apart. Thinking about it now, moving to a more convenient location could have been a solution, but I was so in love with Alex that I didn't even think of that. I resigned from my job just as Alex had suggested. Alex had a sufficient income, and at that time, I had no doubts about supporting him. After resigning, I started living with Alex, almost like we were already cohabiting. Of course, we also started preparing for the wedding. We greeted each other's parents, chose a wedding venue, and got a planner, so the preparations were going smoothly. But around that time, Alex started acting strange. He was absent-minded no matter what I asked, and he started coming home late more often. During this time, Diane contacted me.
Helen, I'm nearby. Can you come out for a bit?
Then come over to the house. Alex is here right now.
No. It's something I can't really talk about if Alex hears.
Wondering what it was, I decided to meet Diane outside. It had been quite a while since I last saw Diane, and we ended up reminiscing about old times. Remember that time I couldn't get down from the tree?
Yeah. Didn't my brother help you down?
Those were the days. How's Ben doing?
He's doing fine. Still single though.
Ben is Diane's brother, 4 years older than me. As kids, the three of us used to play together a lot. Maybe my first crush was on Ben. We talked for a while, but then Diane suddenly became serious.
Helen, have you ever heard of Carmen?
Carmen? No, I haven't heard of her.
She's an employee who joined Alex's department last year, and well, something's fishy.
Fishy? What do you mean?
I mean, they're together too much, you know. I get that they're in the same department, but, and then, I saw it. In the break room, Alex and Carmen were embracing.
It felt like time had stopped at that moment. I was frozen until Diane spoke to me again.
That's all I saw, and I hesitated to tell you. But you're about to marry Alex, so I thought it's better to tell you sooner.
After Diane told me this, I finally started to think. Basically, Alex might be cheating, and it's better to clear things up before we get married. That's what Diane meant, but Alex of all people, I can't believe you would.
You're too into Alex. You've always been like that. Anyway, you better talk to Alex or do some digging.
With that, Diane left. Indeed, Alex has been coming home late recently, and he's been eating out more often. I had my suspicions, but no one would admit to cheating if you just ask, "Are you cheating?" So, I came up with a plan.
Taking care of Grandma?
Yeah, my grandma needs a lot of care, and usually, my mom takes care of her, but she wants to go on a trip. So, I want to stay at my parents' house for about 3 days, Is that okay?
Sure, go ahead. I can manage here for about 3 days.
Sorry for leaving during such a busy time with the wedding preparations. So, I packed for 3 days and headed to my parents' house. Of course, the cake giving was a complete lie. My mom isn't going on any trip. If Alex was cheating, he would likely make a move during these 3 days, so I decided to disguise myself and investigate him. After leaving the house, I dropped my bags at my parents and immediately started tailing Alex. I secretly watched the entrance of Alex's office, waiting for him to come out. Then, Alex came out with a young woman. They split up right at the entrance. I hesitated for a moment but decided to follow Alex. He took the usual train towards home. However, Alex got off at the second station and stayed on the platform. It was still a long way from home. After a while, the next train arrived, and the woman he had separated from at the entrance got off. Despite supposedly going in the opposite direction, the woman approached Alex. Then, unlike before, they stood close together, holding hands. They clearly looked like a couple. It meant they had arranged to meet at a distant place to avoid being seen by colleagues. I felt sad before I felt angry. When I got on the train home, I thought to myself, it's good that I found out. That's why the shock was even greater. But I couldn't stop following them then. Despite feeling devastated, I continued to follow the cozy couple. Eventually, they got off at the station where Alex's house was and went straight to his place. Watching the two of them, I started to get really angry. That's my fiancé's house, and it's full of my stuff. Furious, I decided to confront them at the scene of the affair. Since I had the keys to the house, I didn't ring the doorbell but just opened the door. Then I heard a commotion from the bedroom, and a flustered Alex came out.
Hey, what's up? Weren't you supposed to be staying at your parents' tonight?
I ignored Alex and headed to the bedroom. There was no one there, but women's clothes were scattered all over the bed. They had returned not long ago and were already getting started. I went up to the closet and flung the doors open with force.
Hey?
There was a woman in her underwear, sitting on the floor. Our eyes met.
Good evening.
It's not a good evening. This had to be Carmen. I let her have it all at once. What are you thinking? Alex is engaged, and I'm his fiancé. Do you even realize what you're doing? Carmen just stayed silent, not saying a word. Then, something unexpected happened.
Well, the cat's out of the bag now, isn't it?
When I turned around, Alex was standing at the bedroom entrance. Alex had an expression I had never seen before.
I was going to tell you eventually, but I'm dating Carmen. Please, let's break up.
What are you talking about?
I said let's break up. I've already canceled the wedding venue too.
What?
You were the one moving forward with the wedding plans, Helen. Please take care of the cancellation fees.
I was so shocked that I couldn't find the words to respond. I had imagined a scenario where Carmen was just a fling and she seduced Alex, who would then come back apologizing to me. But in reality, Alex had chosen Carmen, and I was being discarded.
From now on, it's going to be fun, you understand? Could you please leave?
I felt all the strength drain from my body. I honestly don't remember how I got back to my parents' house from there. Thinking about it now, it's strange that I should pay the cancellation fees, but at that time, I couldn't think of anything. My parents tried to confront Alex. I said, "Don't bother Alex with this." I started to blame myself more and more. While I was dealing with all this, the cancellation fees were deducted from my account. What saved me from this situation was a call from Diane.
Helen, are you okay?
Apparently, Diane had heard from office gossip that Alex and Carmen had started dating. I told Diane everything that had happened.
It's ridiculous that you have to pay the cancellation fees, Helen.
Diane was furious as if it were her own issue. Since she was the one who introduced Alex to me, she probably felt responsible.
I have someone I want you to meet. When are you free?
Diane said this and forcefully set up a time and place. I wasn't in the mood to go out, but I went to the place Diane had told me about anyway.
Helen, over here, here.
I turned towards the voice, and there was Diane, waving her hand vigorously. And I was surprised to see who was sitting next to her. Ben?
Helen, long time no see. You haven't changed much.
Next to Diane was Ben. It really had been a long time. He was originally handsome, but wearing an expensive suit, he looked even more polished.
My brother knows the situation. Actually,
Turns out Ben is a liar.
Helen, from what Diane told me, you could definitely get the cancellation fees back. Can you tell me more about it?
Honestly, I didn't care about the cancellation fees anymore, but pushed by Diane and Ben's enthusiasm, I decided to try to get them back. I explained the situation to Ben, and we planned our strategy.
Then let's claim the cancellation fees and also seek damages. Even if you weren't married or registered, you can still get damages. Leave it to me.
Talking to Ben made me feel like, let's do this. The depression I had felt was gone. After that, I started seeing Ben frequently. We were childhood friends and lived nearby, so it was easy to meet up. Sometimes, with Diane included. It felt like going back to the old days, and it was fun. It must have been a few months later. Of course, I hadn't contacted Alex since I confronted him at the cheating scene. However, I suddenly received a call from Alex.
Hey, what's this invoice about?
As soon as I answered the phone, Alex was yelling. It says exactly what it is. If you don't transfer the money, I'll take legal action.
So why do I have to pay this? It's even higher than the cancellation fee. I'm definitely not paying this. You should just drop the lawsuit, right?
This is such a hassle. Fine, I'll put my darling on. I put the phone on hold and explained the situation to the guy next to me. He nodded slightly and said okay, then took the phone.
Hello. This is Attorney Ben speaking. I'm the one who sent that invoice. Attorney?
Alex was clearly shaken by the sudden appearance of a lawyer on the phone.
Mr. Alex, despite being engaged to Helen, you continue to engage in infidelity. Helen has suffered emotional distress, and the amount claimed is justified. Please make the payment promptly. Do you have proof that I cheated while engaged? I'll take this to court if I have to.
Alex was shouting so loudly that I could hear him next to me, but Ben remained calm.
Of course, we have proof. Miss Helen once walked in on you cheating, didn't she? At that time, she recorded the audio on her smartphone. What?
Alex was at a loss for words. He clearly hadn't expected that she was recording.
You are free to take this to court, but this recording will serve as decisive evidence. I don't think you have a chance of winning. I'll say it again. Please make the payment promptly.
There was silence on the other end of the phone. Alex was speechless, completely out-argued by Ben. Feeling a bit mischievous, I asked Ben to hand the phone back to me. Hello, Alex. Just to let you know, we got married yesterday.
Huh?
I married Ben.
Ben, the lawyer right now?
Yes, Ben is my childhood friend and a lawyer. So now, I'm a lawyer's wife. Again, there was silence on the other end. He was probably feeling bitter. A wedding ceremony only costs about $700 to $800. Didn't know that. If we knew it would turn out like this, we should have just had the ceremony too. I have to thank you, in a way. You inadvertently brought me and Ben together. Suddenly, I heard a groan from the other end of the phone. What's wrong?
Damn it.
I thought my eardrum would burst. Alex was freaking out, yelling at the top of his lungs. I was so startled that I just hung up the phone.
Helen, just block him. He's a bit dangerous.
I did as I was told and blocked Alex, setting my phone to reject his calls. Actually, Ben and I got married while we were seeing each other frequently. Now we've moved out of our parents' homes, rented a place, and are living together.
So, how are things now?
A few months had passed, and I met Diane for the first time in a while. Things are good. Ben's work schedule made it hard to go on a honeymoon, but we managed to go recently. Here, this is a souvenir.
Oh, thank you.
The damages have been paid, and I don't even need to work. Ben wants kids soon, but I think I want it to be just the two of us for a bit longer.
Alex actually paid the damages properly? Huh?
According to Diane, rumors had spread within the company that Alex cheated during his engagement and dated Carmen, and both Alex and Carmen were being looked at unfavorably by their colleagues. Because of that, Carmen felt uncomfortable at the company and ended up resigning.
And apparently, he broke up with Carmen.
Oh, poor thing. I listened as if it were someone else's problem. Well, it is someone else's problem. Alex has become isolated within the company due to this incident and apparently isn't getting much work.
Well, I'm the one who spread the rumor, though.
Saying that, Diane stuck out her tongue playfully. She hasn't changed a bit from the mischievous person she was back then.
Aren't you going to have a reception or something?
We had the ceremony, so I guess that's enough.
I see. Well, nice to meet you, sister-in-law.
Stop that.